Clerical error, technical glitch, some fault on the line, or true absolute fact? Who knows? But July the 31st is when they're saying that the K54 Air Jordan 1 Low is going to drop. Yes, July 31st. Everywhere else that I've looked says July the 10th, and these guys have already dropped. When you're out in Japan, Tokyo, Japan, you've just finished watching the opening ceremony of the Olympics out in Tokyo, Japan, then you don't always get the information that you need. It's not the greatest place in the world for sneaker drops and for keeping your finger on the sneaker pulse. So I need you guys out there to tell me whether or not Kicks on Fire have got this right, because that's the only website that I've seen that says July 31st, but everywhere else is saying July the 10th. But the interesting thing about the Kicks on Fire thing is that they have a little button on there. Now, I know a lot about Kicks on Fire, especially if you've seen this right here. There's the thumbnail for my video from 2 or 3 days ago, which was all about my top 5 go-to websites for sneaker news and sneaker information. Great video with that. Definitely check it out. Links in the description down below to all 5 of those websites that I absolutely love to use. And Kicks on Fire came in at number 3. So the thing about them is that they've got a button on the page for each sneaker that says buy now for, and that price is really high for these guys, well over $200, when they actually retail for around about $100. So why are they retailing for $100 more at the moment, reselling for $100 more at the moment than they actually should be, which makes me think they haven't dropped yet, because basically if they haven't dropped yet, of course the price of them's a bit higher, but if they have dropped, and then the price will have come down to the retail price. So the question is, have they already dropped out there? Did Kicks on Fire get this wrong? Or are Kicks on Fire ahead of the game and everybody else has gotten this wrong? They're saying July the 31st. I'm shooting this video, like I just said, on the day that the Tokyo Olympics opening ceremony has just finished, which is July the 23rd. And then I'll put this video up on YouTube probably July 25th. So we're about 6 days before Kicks on Fire's drop date. But we're probably about 2.5 weeks after everybody else's July the 10th drop date. Comments down below, let us know whether Kicks on Fire have got it right or whether this is well late. But the bottom line is, I don't need much of an excuse to talk about one of my favorite silhouettes. The Air Jordan 1 Low is rapidly becoming one of my favorite shoes, and I think all it's going to take is one person, one special high-profile celebrity to wear a pair of Air Jordan 1 Lows, and these guys are going to absolutely blast across and get that kind of crossover appeal, that when a sneaker gets it crossover appeal to fashion, that it just really takes off. Of course, the Air Jordan 1 is a massive shoe anyway, and the Air Jordan 1 Lows are great shoes all on their own without needing that crossover hype, but I see that happen. Somebody's going to wear a pair of these in a really distinctive place, and it's going to absolutely break the internet. So it doesn't take much for me to need to talk about these shoes. July the 31st projected drop date according to one website. That's enough reason for me to go through the shoe with you guys today, piece by piece, and look at all the little details on there and all the different parts in there. And when it comes to these shoes, K54, big thing at the channel, thing that I've looked at many times, many years, especially last year with the Air Jordan 6s, which were beautiful shoes. There was 2 of them. One was kind of a general release, and the other one I think was more of a friends and family release. And then this year, there's at least 4 Jordans coming down the line for K54. And we've already done this one here. That's the Air Jordan 5, and I'd said that that would be the only one that we'd look at. And I probably did that video like 3 or 4 weeks ago. But then now I've got a reason to look at one of the other ones. I think there's a Jordan 35 in there, and it's a Jordan 13 and maybe 11, maybe a Jordan 11. I think there are 4 K54 Jordan sneakers coming out this year, which is a lot. Maybe making up for lost time, because the K54 street basketball tournament out in Paris, France was cancelled last year, just like the Drew League out on the west coast of America and the east coast, New York versus New York, last year as well. All 3 of those guys were parked last year and coming back strong this year. New York versus New York usually does an Air Force One, but this year they're doing a Dunk Low, which tells you that they're paying a lot more attention after the missed year. And it's the same over the K54 guys, and this shoe in particular is one of the most beautiful ones out there. So let's go through it bit by bit and look at all the different hits on there. Look, a couple of surprises I wasn't expecting to see, and a couple of details on there that are just classic K54. So first things first, beautiful black, red, white, and hits of grey maybe on there as well. One of my favourite kind of collections of colours, because I'm very much an 80s man. Born in 76, makes me 45 years old, but means I grew up in the 80s, and things like red and grey and white and black was a very kind of 80s vibe. So these shoes very much fit my eye from just a general perspective, but there's some sort of hits on there that really sort of elevate them above. So what we're going to do is zoom in on the collar and see that classic K54 kind of styling up there. Now this geometric design, which is said to be influenced by African designs, is something you often see on K54 shoes that sort of represents the style of the whole tournament. Like I said, street basketball tournament in Paris, France. I think, if I remember rightly, the stadium for it is at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, but that might just be a random memory and not a fact, but you guys might know better than me out there. But anyway, at the top, on the collar of these guys, you see that beautiful K54 styling and detailing on the top line. But if you look down from inside, you see that that just continues all the way into the lining and all the way into the outsoles. And the outsoles are an important detail on these guys, just like they were for those Air Jordan 5s, because they're very much sort of embellished with that K54 detailing, the branding on there. But if you take them out like this and look at them out of the shoe, you can see that in much more detail, and it's a lot easier to see that camouflaged red Jumpman hiding at the heel end of the insoles because of the colouring and the design that you get in that insole. It's actually very hard to sort of distinguish the Jumpman on the back there. But taking the insoles out, having a close-up look at them in this particular way here gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. And I think I'll flip it back out and show you it back in the shoe so you can see what I mean about that Jordan Jumpman being sort of hidden in there and a little bit harder to see. But basically what we're talking about is the collar, the lining, and the insole all having that matching beautiful K54 design on there, and that's really the major signature feature of the shoe. But there are a couple of hits on the shoe as well that are well worth looking at. Before we get off it, we might as well look at the black tongue and the white Jumpman as well, because it's a detail of note on the shoe. You always want to have a look at the tongues and see if they're doing anything special. In the case of these ones, you might have expected the K54 Q up there, but you're not getting it this year, maybe in the subsequent years, but you do get it on the heel. So let's wrap it around and have a look at the back end of these guys. And it's the same on those Jordan 5s that we already looked at. You've got a panel added to the back of the heel here that has both the Jumpman and the K54 basketball. And the idea, if you look at that, it does look very much like a basketball, but then if you really pay close attention, the bottom corner of the basketball has a little tail sticking out of it, which makes it into a letter Q, an uppercase Q. So then you get that Q for K54 coming through in the branding on the back of these guys there. So another important little detail. And not too far away from that, you're actually in the heel counter and the heel cup of these guys, and that's an important detail for me because it's a very black matte finish on these guys, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a standard kind of leather. I wasn't thinking about anything like patent leather, you know, like an Air Jordan 11 patent leather style. I wasn't looking for shiny like that, glossy like that, but just standard leathers that have a kind of sheen to them is all gone. It's now a very deep black matte finish on the back end of these guys, and it's a detail that's definitely worth paying attention to. And then the final major detail, actually there's one more, but I'll go to my first final major detail and then we'll go to the next final major detail before wrapping this one up. And I'm talking about the outsoles. They're beautiful red, cherry red outsoles, which on their own is enough to make this a great looking outsole and a perfect addition to finish off the shoe. But there's also a hint of translucence in there, which just elevates these guys up a notch, up another level as far as Air Jordan 1s go. Anything that's got a semi-translucent or translucent outsole on there is a beautiful thing, and these guys, it's just a hint of translucence in that cherry red that I think elevates them up to a next level. And then the final thing to look at, which I just remembered before I started talking about the outsole, was what's going on in the laces here. Do you see what I'm talking about? A detail that I've overlooked many times on Jordan 1 lows is the little lace stay in the middle of the tongue that holds the tongue in place, that little loop that you run the laces through to keep the tongue from sliding left and right. On Jordan 1 lows, they put a 23 on there to mark Jordan's classic shirt number, but you can see on these guys they've switched out that red on black Jordan 123 for a red on black K54 54. So you see there a 54 instead of a 23. Now it's a beautiful little detail, and like I say, on Jordan 1 lows where it usually has a 23 there, I've often overlooked looking at that, but for these guys I'm glad I didn't miss out. I'm thinking about it because it is a 54 to represent K54 instead of the 23 to represent Jordan, and that's a big deal. It's a big deal that they flipped out those numbers, and especially with the colour, and it's got that real pop on it that you can really see those numbers amidst the black laces and the black tongue in there as well. So back out looking at the whole shoe. Beautiful, beautiful Air Jordan 1s. I do like to do the Jordan 1 lows. And like I said, I think it could be a shoe that's a one step literally away from blasting out there and being a huge shoe with crossover appeal. Right now it's sort of still kind of kept within the sneaker community, and it hasn't really got that extra reach that some shoes get, but I think these guys could be in for a retro extra reach into a crossover appeal to the streetwear and the fashion worlds. With that being said, it's time to wrap this one up. Finished another video for you guys on this daily quest of doing 7 days a week. It's 52 weeks of the year, every single day sneaker videos for you guys on YouTube, and it's another one in the bag, a beautiful shoe that, thanks to the guys over at Kicks on Fire for maybe mistaking the drop date, I got to bring to you guys today. With that being said, it's time to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and the last thing to do is remind you that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.